Even if the dog can't sit down or roll up, what you can do is just stand it up straight and then just kind of put it on its side. And then you can kind of fold it in flat, load it in flat.
Stand it up straight, put it on its side, and then...
It just load it in flat.
How do you do that with a live dog?
I don't know.
You haven't...
I've not had a pet dog for a long time.
No, I can tell this.
Welcome back to the Gassing Station, powered by Michelin, the podcast that goes digging through the Pistonheads forum, searching for gold or whatever gemstone you prefer. I'm Cam Tate, and as ever, I'm joined by John Howell. John,
hello.
I've got nothing to bring to the table this week
Why
at
is that, Cam?
Because I've been really ill. I've been quite poorly. Yeah, nothing serious. Oh. Yeah, I know. That was if you're not watching this on YouTube, that was a sigh of. Not relief, the opposite. It was depression. It was sadness that I'm still sticking around. No, I'm feeling much better.
Oh, that means I've got to
Thank
carry
you
on
for asking. Yeah,
podcast.
But no, I've had man flu, actual flu, colds.
Man flu's
on
a thing.
Extreme. It is actually. Yes, apparently it affects men differently.
Yeah.
No, I've been bedbound for a week and a half. The only time I went in a car was I jumped in mine to go to the supermarket to pick up some stuff. Because
stuff.
Yeah, well, it's nothing weird.
Well,
like,
I mean, was this at like 12 o'clock at night?
No. It was in the middle of the day to get some food.
I thought I assumed you were going there to buy some drugs or something.
Well,
in pharmaceuticals.
Yes, I was getting
if it was 12 o'clock at night, it could have
paracetamol or whatever.
Right.
But no. So I got in my car. And, never have a problem with driving my car at all, or any car, being a car journalist. But when you're like really ill and you just want to be in bed and you get into an old car and you fire it up and it's kind of coughing into life.
And so are you.
And I'm coughing into life.
You.
Yeah.
It's like dogs with their owners. They say dogs are like their owners and owners like their dogs.
Yeah.
You became like your car.
Yes,
coughing
exactly.
and spluttering and feeling old and wheezy.
Old and wheezy and just falling apart, which is not good for someone in their early 30s. But no, I got in my car. I felt grim. It was quite grim driving it. And then I returned home and went to bed. That's all the driving I've done. So, John, you have to kind of bring this section of the podcast up. What have you been driving?
Well, I've been driving something very interesting.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
But I can't talk about it.
Oh, why is that?
Porsche heads.
Oh, right. Yes. Sorry. How about you refer to it just as its model name?
Well, I could tell you about a Porsche I've been driving, but I think because of Porsche heads and the fact that we're basically deemed to be exclusively Porsche, I'm going to tell you about, say, a Tekka instead.
No, oh God, please no! I don't care how many people.
Are you lifting? Because even you banned.
I don't even. No, I'm lifting. No, I was lifting the Porsche box. There was a Porsche Boxster ban on our car buying challenges.
That's not true. You're manipulating the truth.
Okay.
Because you said I wasn't allowed to talk about any Porsches.
For the car buying challenges, yes.
Right. Okay.
So today, I'm going to lift that, because I also know the buying challenge today that no Porsche will fit it. I'm going to lift that Porsche ban. Go ahead. What have you been driving? Please don't talk about the Tekka.
It's a Porsche. I was going to say Taycan, but it's not. It's a Panamera.
Oh, okay.
But it was a little bit electric. It was a 4E hybrid. Was it 4E hybrid? 4ES hybrid? I actually forget.
You can get a 4E hybrid.
Yes. Well, that would be the one then. It was a beautiful shade of sort of like an aquamarine.
Oh, nice.
And I know that's not really cool, is it? Talk about car colours.
A lot of people are really into it.
But it just had it was kind of, because what I always think with Panamera, because obviously when they first came out, they were, aesthetically they were like the boil on someone's backside. They weren't exactly the nicest looking cars, were they?
No.
But I actually think it's quite a good looking car now. It's kind of, what can I say? It's got. Would it be correct to say there's a relative especially in that sort of colour, like a nice, discreet aquamarine metallic? Would I be right in saying it's a relatively discreet, elegant-looking car now, or is it just me? Have I gone a bit mad?
The Panamera. I think it's probably flies under the radar a little bit.
I think so.
I would say so. I think there's, particularly with some of the designs that we see nowadays, it definitely seems quite subtle.
Audi.
BMW. But the Panamera, is quite a handsome thing now, from being quite a hideous car.
Well, and I kind of, because it's subjective, right? So I think it's worth corroborating, and you're the only person I have to corroborate that with.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad-looking car. However, it's not a great car.
Okay. Well, why might that be then? I've not driven the new one. The last one I drove was the SE Hybrid several years ago.
Well, and I think this does demonstrate this is not Porsche heads, because I'm about to, dare I say, criticise a Porsche. I know. I drove from London to Didcot and back again, where the old Williams factory was.
Yes, I know that, yeah.
And first of all, well, actually, it had the trick suspension. So I first drove this suspension on the Porsche Taycan when they revised that.
I see.
What was that? 2 years ago, maybe, or something like that, or a year ago. And for anyone that doesn't know, it's got the really fancy suspension. So when you open the door, the car suddenly springs up. I don't mean like it rises like a nose lift on a Ferrari or something like that from a few years ago, where it just motors up really slowly. I'm talking about you open the door and bing, it goes up. The whole car goes up like that. And then when you get into the car and you're driving it, it's meant to counter nosedive, squat at the rear when you're so nosedive when you're braking, squat at the rear when you're accelerating, and through the corners it will not just maintain a level aspect to the car, it will counter lean.
I see.
So it will lean like a motorbike. It will lean into cars to take away the centrifugal forces. In the Taycan, I liked this scenario, this feeling. Something different about the Panamera, and I don't know why, because you'd assume it's all the same gubbins, but instead of it maintaining a level platform when you're accelerating and braking, it doesn't. And it produces this really weird effect of surfing.
Right.
So, and I promise you, I'm not embellishing this to make it sound more interesting, but it's really curious. If you accelerate, and it's quite a fast car, it's like plug-in hybrid, so it's got plenty of multi-use performance aspects to it with the electric motor and the engine. So as you accelerate, it then starts to pick up at the rear. So it's almost like, instead of you being level, you're now kind of tipping up at the rear as if you're on a surfboard, surfing the wave of performance from the car.
So I'm not saying like you can actually feel the platform moving beneath you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not trying to say that if you looked at it from the outside, you're not going to go, oh, that's one of those kind of 1980s dragster type sort of,
sit up and beg. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's like that.
That would be hilarious.
It would be hilarious. But you can feel it in the car picking up at the rear. And so you're sort of like, the only way I can describe it is surfing. You're kind of performance surfing in the Panamera. But then when you brake, it does the opposite. So the front almost stays propped up exactly where it should be.
Yeah.
So it doesn't dive. But then the rear squats down. So it's kind of like a dog rubbing its bottom along the carpet.
And do you feel the back end kind of slamming into the ground?
No, absolutely. And you can visually see it. I mean, it's not just a visual thing. It's a sensation and a visual thing at the same time.
Wow.
So if you put your foot on the brakes, you will see the car sort of squat down. Is that right? Yeah, at the back.
Yes.
Yes, yes. It shouldn't squat down.
Because basically it doesn't want to. It's doing whatever it can to not nosedive and make you lurch forward.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of the forward and backward side of it. The anti-squat and anti-dive, which almost does the opposite of what it should do. But then there's the cornering side of things, where it's doing the leaning into the corner like a motorcycle. And then I found myself doing a bend that I know quite well. One of those bends that goes between two motorways. And I know you can take it at a decent lick, is what I'll say. It's a corner I do regularly, so I know what that lick is.
They're usually quite heavily cambered as well.
Yes. With this car, I took it at my known decent lick, but then I became very aware of the fact that the cornering forces weren't building up to the same degree. I'm not saying you get no cornering forces, because obviously I'm not talking about the amount of lean this car can do into a bend is infinite. So So there is a point where obviously it takes away some of the cornering forces, not all of it. It reminded me of the ATP train from the 1980s.
Oh, really? I was going to say, is it like a Virgin Pendolino or whatever they're called
do you know,
now?
Do you know? This is a sad fact. That train, the Pendolino, built in Italy,
Yes.
designed in Italy. When we produced British Railway, the one that everyone criticised for being nationalised, the APT train in the late 80s, I think it was, and then they got it slightly wrong. I think it was the first one to do the tilting into the corner. It was designed to take away the cornering forces, so you could leave your cup of coffee on the table and it wouldn't move around, and you would feel this seamless ride. It didn't work because people started feeling sick. And after lots of investigation, they realised that the human brain can't compute feeling no cornering forces while still seeing the thing going around. So they basically worked out, all they have to do is put some cornering forces in, so say like 80% of them, and then it was absolutely fine.
My wife hated them, by the way. The Pendolino, when we went on those, she used to get so sick. Yeah,
oh, she did? Okay.
Big time.
Yeah, I believe that would be less of the rule now. But I learnt that then by that stage, because the typical British press had denounced this new technology, so, it makes everyone sick, it's rubbish, even though they'd fixed it and they knew what the problem was, they had to scrap it because the publicity had been so bad. So they sold all of it to the Italians.
Ah, right.
So we invented the typical British story. We invented the technology. The Italians basically refined it and put it back into production. And then we buy it back. Our own technology, we buy it back when we probably sold it for about 5p.
Probably.
Maybe 50p. One of those big 50p.
5p with because of inflation.
Yeah, exactly.
50p would have been a lot back then.
Yeah. And so, basically we buy it all back and have to pay all this money for our trains because of that.
I can't believe that. And so, are we going to get to a similar position with the Panamera then?
Oh, right. So,
this is a car podcast.
Was I talking about a Panamera?
Yes.
I wasn't I? Yeah. Well, I did find it a little bit kind of weird, which again, I don't remember in the Taycan, but I don't see why it would be any different. But I found myself going around a bend. I know how fast you can go around at the speed I would normally go around, and then being aware of the cornering forces not building up. So therefore thinking, but if I didn't know how fast I could go around this bend, it would be very easy for me to pile in and then just lose it because I'm not gauging the cornering forces correctly.
Feels a little unnatural with its movements on the road.
And the surfing thing.
Yeah.
Then there's another aspect to it.
Go on.
Okay, right. We've mentioned before that I'm the older one of this pairing.
There's a slight age gap.
There is a slight age gap.
Yeah.
Cam is young. I am less young.
A bit more senior.
A bit more senior. And I have reached that period of time, I fully admit, where I do struggle to get in and out of low cars. And it's not just a case of being a bit, It's like sometimes I really can't get out properly. I mean, I'm not saying...
I'd love to see you get stuck in a lead. It would be so
the
funny.
thing is, but I mean, it doesn't help that I've got really long legs. So if I'm sitting in a very low car, my knee is up here. So it would be easy if I had shorter legs to do it. I think I'm not blaming entirely my age. I think it's a combination of age and having very long legs. The leverage isn't very good for me getting out of low riding cars.
You don't have to prove yourself. It's fine.
I know.
Look, anyway, I'm going to get there at some point.
We all will. Or we all do.
Terrifyingly.
But I have noticed this phenomenon. And so... Yeah, it's kind of like, I do look a bit of a weirdo cut sometimes, kind of going, like that as I get out this fancy car. But here's a really fancy car that seems to solve that problem because when you open the door, it goes whoosh, up like that really quickly. But then I became aware when I'm in a petrol station or I was at Waitrose of how obvious it is when it's kind of like almost a bit of a show-off thing. Like when I went to Waitrose, or came back from Waitrose, I walked out into the car park, the cars in the car park, and opened the rear door to put just a bag of shopping.
Yeah.
Closed the rear door, and I can't remember how quickly, but it went down again.
Yeah.
Then I opened the front door to get in, the driver's door, and it went straight back up again. So there's this car, and it's moving. It must be... I don't know. It's got to be moving. What's that? Like 10
foot? Centimeters? Yeah. It moves a lot and really quickly because I saw it on the Taycan last year.
Yeah.
And it's something that is not only impressive when you see it in person, but it will attract attention.
Yes, exactly.
People will stop and look and go, that car just jumped.
And it's because it's so fast as well. It's not like a creeping up. It's like this.
Yeah.
So I thought of another problem. There I am, getting into this very sleek, we described, nice looking car, beautiful colour, sleek looking Porsche badge. And then I became aware as it boings up and down. That's a bit like when somebody gets to a certain age and they have to have their reading glasses on, and then they sort of look at you, put the reading glasses on the end of their nose and go. But all these things where, you sort of older gentlemen, let's say, are trying to look cool in very nice fancy cars, and perhaps they've got no hair or it's all grey, or they've got their reading glasses on to understand the instruments or something like this. It was a bit like that, because I felt that every time I got in the car, which looks beautiful when it's on the deck and as it should be, suddenly it has to rise up like this, like a sort of Stena stair lift kind of equivalent of a car suspension, to allow me, an old or aging man, to get in and out of the car. So it kind of defeats the whole object. And it's really advertising the fact that I'm too old to be driving these sort of cars.
Do you know, it's a bit like when mobile phone technology got really, really thin, and then people realised that it made them super bendy and they didn't really like it. So they thickened it up and they're like, look at this. And I wonder if it's going to be the same thing, of where technology's got so good that it's like, we can raise the car in an instant, in the blink of an eye. But that attracts so much attention that it's like, can you do it a bit slower, actually, so people don't know? Well, speaking of plug-in hybrids and dampers, although these ones aren't passive, I'm going to bring us on to our first topic. And I can't believe this, because I've been, basically, part of my job at Piston Heads is to find spotted. So I go on the classifieds, I try and find cars that are interesting to write about and bring to you lovely lot. And there are several cars on my list that I've been looking at for the last several years that I've been at PH. One of them is a Bristol Blenheim. I still haven't found a Bristol Blenheim. Still hasn't come up, because it's got a crazy story, and they are frankly bizarre cars. I'd love to write about one. One of them was a Delta S4 Stradale, which we had quite recently, so that was quite good.
You love that car.
I freaking love that car.
Let's not go stop.
Okay, I'll start. Okay. And one of them
on your hands.
Is the car that we are going to be talking about. It's a Polestar 1. I didn't think I would ever see one of these for sale, mainly because just Polestar didn't actually bring many of them to the UK at all. So, as a little bit of a backstory, the Polestar 1, believe it or not, was the first car that Polestar launched as its own dedicated brand. So Polestar used to be the tuning arm of Volvo, but they are now obviously its own dedicated electric brand. But to introduce its electric future, they released a two-door coupe that was a plug-in hybrid, a twin-charged plug-in hybrid. So it has a 2-litre 4-cylinder engine with a supercharger and a turbocharger, like the aforementioned Delta S4 Stradale. So they released this car. They launched it just before COVID, and from what I understand is they had quite a few orders before COVID hit. Then 2020 happened. People's situations changed, and we came out the other side. And in the UK, no one bought them. They were left-hand drive only, which probably didn't help. But Polestar built 1,500 of them, and there's only one supposedly left registered in the UK, and it's the one that we have for sale, which is the former press car, which I've driven. You have probably driven? You've driven the Polestar 1, have you?
I have driven. I've driven the Polestar 1.
But not the one that's
not
for sale?
That one, because I think that's probably the UK press car.
Yes.
The car I drove would have been, I would imagine, the head office press car.
I see.
It was a white one.
It was a white one. Okay, because we've been doing some digging, and it did turn out that there were a handful of cars that came into the UK as press and marketing cars. If we go off how many left, which isn't always the most accurate figure to go off, but it's currently 1 registered and 4 sawn. So I believe there were marketing cars that currently aren't in use in the UK, or they've gone back to head office in Gothenburg or wherever. So it means that at this very time, there's only one Polestar 1 registered in the UK, and it's up for sale, and it's £119,992. So I just wanted to go and offer up a bit of insight because we've both driven it.
Yes.
I was really very fond of it. Something tells me that you probably weren't.
Should we let's put the case for and against.
How about we do something
a debate?
like that? Yes.
Okay.
So how about I go for...
Is this the car?
That is the car, yes.
Okay.
So you're looking up a review on a rival website. I don't know why you're doing that. But yeah, it's that press car. As
I was looking at that one because that was the site I was working for when I drove the car.
Oh, I see.
So I wondered whether it would have the pictures of the car that I drove, because I'm fairly sure the one I drove was on Swedish plates.
I see, right, okay.
So
they did have a white one.
I can't remember.
There was a white one, I believe, on the press fleet here that has since gone back, or has disappeared somewhere. I don't know. But I believe that is the same one because it's the same spec. And we know that the one up for sale is the press car. So I drove this probably about 5 years ago. It was around the time they were new. And what's interesting about this car is that it was originally a Volvo concept that launched in 2013. It was called the Concept Coupe, and it was a gorgeous thing. And the reason it stood out so much is that no other Volvo looked like it at the time. So it was a two-door coupe. They didn't have any proper two-door coupes on sale at the time. But it introduced the design language that we see today. So when the Polestar 1 came along in 2017, the design was actually quite familiar because we had seen it on the V90 and the V60 and all that kind of stuff.
The Thor hammer headlights.
The Thor hammer headlights, which are still in use today.
And the kind of big outline of the boot.
Can we agree that it's a gorgeous car? It's a really, really lovely looking
and I do
thing.
have a story about how corroborating that from a third party.
Go on.
I was in the car driving my girlfriend at the time home, and it was like Sunday, dark. It would. I think it was kind of wintry time, and it was probably about 9 o'clock at night, and a bit miserable, whatever. So we're driving along, near where I lived. The tube station. So it's kind of it's in London and urban, but I was aware of a car following me quite for a while, but I didn't think about. I didn't twig anything,
which is strange.
It just
to be trailed.
Yeah, I kind of. I mean, it's not unusual to have a car following you, but there was something about this car that, in hindsight, I realised was a bit odd. So I driving down this road, left, right, and eventually the tube station is at a dead end road, and you sort of turn around, or there's like a little turn roundabout thing at the bottom, and off you go again. So I dropped her off in the kind of drop off bit. And this car's still following me down this road. And I'm like, what is going on here? And the next minute, it stops next to us. The bloke gets out the driver's seat. And I'm like, oh, crikey. And I was like, make sure the door's blocked, windows up. And I was thinking, what on earth is happening here? Are we going to be carjacked or something? Anyway, there's this, that's me acting. That was acting.
A knock on the door, window? Bonnet?
Window. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like, what is going on? So I window down like less than an inch. Yes, can I help you? And this bloke just said, and he was a fairly ordinary looking fella.
Right.
And I did notice that he had a sort of youngish son in the car.
Okay.
He just goes, I've been following you. And I'm like, I know you have. And he went, me and my son were driving behind this car wondering what on earth that is. It's one of the most spectacular looking cars I've ever seen. So I had to follow you to ask you what it was. I was thinking, good job I wasn't going to Wales.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But yeah, and it was quite chilling at the time, but then quite impactful that I've driven.
Remembered it.
I've driven. This is not a boast. It's just part of my job. Some pretty spectacular machinery. I've never been followed quite extensively all the way to a dead end stop and asked. Somebody come out the car. Followed us over and asked what the car is, and had that level of impact on them.
What's quite telling about that though is that when I saw the Polestar one for the first time and I got in it, I kind of thought like it's pretty, but I didn't think it was like bowl me over beautiful. But it's just stuck with me, and every time I see it, I'm like, God, that is such a lovely thing because it's simple and it's not overly complicated. And it's amazing how this design, which is just essentially, it's the current Volvo design language, but in a coupe, can just stop people in their tracks, and they go, or actually trail someone and to knock on their window and be like, I'm sorry, this is just such a beautiful car.
That car got me my first stalker.
There you go.
Actually, shouldn't make jokes about that, should I?
But as we established, it's not the one that's currently for sale on Piston Heads. You drove up the white one that was slightly different. But the thing I enjoyed the most about it is that it felt new and it felt fresh. And it still feels like that today, because nothing's really ever come quite close to it. So plug-in hybrids were nothing new at the time. Plug-in hybrids are nothing new now. But it was this near 50-50 split of powertrains that I don't think there are many cars that have a 50-50 split now, especially
2026 Formula 1 cars.
There you go. See, ahead of its time.
And everyone's moaning about that.
Yes, they are. But, I mean, you don't want... they're going to run out of puff at the end of the Monza Straight. Will that happen in a Polestar one? Doesn't matter, because you're probably not going to take it on a racetrack. But you have a 330-odd horsepower 4-pot up front, powering the front wheels, and you have 2 electric motors at the rear, powering the rear, and also an electric starter generator thing. All in all, producing 608 horsepower when everything's working together. And you know what the overriding memory is of driving that car? Is that manufacturers today spend millions, hundreds of millions maybe, on making sure that combustion and electric power work together in harmony, so you cannot notice the difference. Whereas in that Polestar 1, it felt like 2 distinct powertrains working at the same time, which sounds terrible. But as a road car, it made the technology extremely tangible. It felt like you had these so many different things going on at once. You know, you've got a supercharger, you've got a turbocharger, you've got combustion power, and you've got these hybrid motors working at the same time, and you can kind of feel them working together. And I just really enjoyed that. It felt like it was intriguing. You were driving it, and it was like, I feel like I'm driving a laboratory. And I know that won't be to everybody's taste, because, I mean, there was only one available in the country.
It always sounds very evocative when you said, I felt like I was driving a laboratory.
Yeah, but it's intriguing.
Yeah, that's,
it's intriguing. Genuinely, there was a silliness to the Polestar one. And again, it being a Volvo offshoot, you never really saw a silly side of Volvo, particularly at that time. And so to have all of this technology going on at once, and it feel like you could feel that it was supercharged, you could feel it was turbocharged, you could feel it was hybrid. I enjoyed that so much. It was one of those cars where I just wanted to get back in it all the time and go and just experiment and be like, because there are different ways that you can mess with the powertrain as well. And it was just intriguing. I enjoyed it thoroughly. So if I had £120,000 lying around, I guess I would quite like the idea of being the only person in the UK to have a Polestar 1. No surprise that certain Mr. Chris Harris had one. Very likely the one that we have for sale.
Right. So I'm going to present this case and present my evidence in the way genuinely how this conversation happened. I didn't do the launch for this car. Now, the launch for this car, I seem to recall, involved going somewhere, probably in Europe. I don't think it was Switzerland, but it was. Okay. And the idea was you drove the car back from the launch to London.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I'm fairly sure.
Yeah.
So I didn't do the launch, but I drove the car after it came back to London. And the person that did the launch, he said, it's brilliant. And he actually gave it quite a good star, a surprisingly good star rating, because I knew a little bit about it, perhaps didn't know all about it. So I said, so-and-so, because I'm not going to name him, tell me why it's brilliant. So is it really fast? Yes, it's fast. It's fast. Is it as fast as, I don't know, like a Ferrari or a Bentley or whatever like that? No, it's quite a bit slower than those. Okay, right. So it's but that's fine. Does it handle really well? No, it's pretty good. Yeah, because the rear compensates for the sort of understeer, I think. And he started talking about this. I don't know. I hadn't driven it, remember, at the time, and I thought, okay, right. But so it's good. It's up there as one of the better handling cars. Well, I mean, no, it's not the best handling car. Yeah. Okay, it's a DB. I think the DB11 was out at the time. V8 is it as good as the DB11? No, it's not as good as that. Okay, right. But it's a lot cheaper than those cars, though, is it? Well, I mean, it's £140,000. Oh, right, okay. So it's quite, I mean, I think the one we had might have even been more with a few extras on. It was alarmingly expensive.
But I think a DB11 and a Vantage and a what's it called, a Bentley Conti would be a fair bit more at the time, no? Maybe the Vantage would be in its kind of price bracket, but I think a DB11 and a Conti would be a fair bit more.
But then I said, but does it have a bespoke interior like the Continental GT, for example? And he said, no, it doesn't. It's okay. Well, what's the interior like then? Well, like the S60 or the V60, it's basically that interior.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yes.
Right, okay. So the interior out of a 40 grand car. Oh, right. I mean, I happen to think that Volvo's interiors are really good for the money that you pay for them when they've got Volvo written on them. But I was like, but £140,000 car with literally the same interior as a 40 grand S60. Yeah. What's the range like? Well, it doesn't go that far between, I think, because I think it had quite a small fuel tank, didn't it?
I can't remember the size of the fuel tank.
Pretty short. And the electric range was about 70 miles, which was okay. Yeah.
Which at the time, wasn't too bad. Yeah. I remember the
But then combined with what I'm fairly sure was a small fuel tank, the overall range of the car wasn't particularly good.
Yes.
So I said, right, it doesn't have a good range. So it's a GT car with not a very good range, but it must ride beautifully.
Yeah.
Well, now, there's the thing about the ride. No, it's quite firm, but you can adjust it. All right, good. So it's got adjustable suspension.
It has fully adjustable manual Öhlins dampers.
Exactly. So this £140,000 bespoke, not track car, not GT3 competitor, luxury GT cruiser.
You could just tailor it
with
to
the
your
40
roads.
grand interior.
Yeah.
You have to remove the rear wheels, jack it up, and adjust the rear suspension, the compression and damping, with a spanner.
To be fair,
yes,
you can go and take it to a trusted chassis specialist. We used Charles Gates Racing to set up the Golf GTI for PH Project Car, and it drove beautifully afterwards. So you have that option. Or
you could have just bought a DB11, which rode really nicely to begin with.
And spend more money on it.
When you wanted it to be a bit firmer, you press a little button called Sport. And when you wanted it to be a little less firm, you press the button again to make it softer. The point is, when we had the end of that conversation, I said to him, do you want to mark it down the star ratings that I believe we've now established that it's worth, instead of the ridiculous hoiked up star ratings that you've given it? Do you want to do it or shall I do it? And we agreed it was going to go down several star ratings from where it was.
I wasn't on the launch. I was literally given the Polestar. It was one of my colleagues had it, and he said, do you want it for a couple of days to make a film? And so I said, yes. And then I drove the car, and I thought, well, I've not driven anything like this before, and it feels really intriguing. Would I go out and buy one? I don't think at the time I thought it was, because when I drove it, it was very much in the mindset of, we're going to make these and we're going to sell them in the UK. But having looked back at it now and knowing how rare it is that there is just one in the UK, I do find it interesting. And I did find it different. I still haven't driven anything else like it.
I'm being really hard on it. I also, but just to, in my defence, I did take the car to Millbrook.
I see.
And tested it, and I drove it on the outer handling circuit, and
it's not built for that, I don't think.
The most disjointed car I've ever driven, where you have basically no idea what it's going to do at the front axle and the rear axle.
I don't think that's really why people would be buying a Polestar 1. I don't think it was ever really positioned as this driving machine. I know they tried to do that with the Polestar's following, although the Öhlins dampers potentially suggest otherwise. But I think and I don't think you buy it as a Bentley alternative. I don't think you buy it as an Aston alternative. I think you buy it because it's the Polestar 1. I think you buy it because it's the genesis point of this new... I think I'm quite a fan of Polestars, electric cars. I think they're pretty good. I think you buy it as the starting point of that. I think you buy it because it's the only one in the UK as far as we're aware.
I get the rarity. I get the looks.
And I think people are buying it or people would be going for it as a something intriguing, something potentially to have in your collection. I don't think it is someone who's going to buy that and go like, oh, I've got 120 grand to spend. What's the best thing I can get? I think it's someone going, oh, I've always really liked those, and I'd love to try one, or I'd love to have one in my collection. And here's your opportunity.
And to now undo some of my good work, perhaps you could argue that all my concentration on the fact that it was 140 grand at the time, if it sells for what it sells for,
yeah,
it's 5 years old, dropped 20 grand.
Yeah.
So if you'd bought a 40 grand S60 at the time,
yes.
Although to be fair, has it done about 1 mile since then?
It's done like 7,500 miles. It's not done a huge amount, so it's pretty box fresh.
Yeah, okay. But let's just, I do admit that in terms of depreciation, it might have had a high sticker price, but the fact of its rarity and everything else, and I'm being quite objective on this one. It just reminded me of the same sort of discussion, as I say, I had at the time of the car's launch. But yeah, look, if you like that, and I'm saying looking at you, but anyone, I am not anti telling people you can't have that car because it's no good. Yeah. If you like it, all I'm saying is I read the reviews at the time and they didn't necessarily correlate to how the car actually drove.
Yeah.
But I understand why people go, but I don't care. I like it.
And I think people will know of you talked about Mr. Chris Harris earlier, who had one for a period, which potentially could be the one that's for sale. We don't fully know that. I think his view on it was, I just like it and it works with my lifestyle, and I think that's exactly who it's for. If it's there's a gap in your lifestyle, there's a gap in your garage, and you want something like that, this is the only opportunity to buy one. I don't want to go find another, but you won't. So how about we do some proper buying advice that we can actually help people with? I've got a pretty good one this week.
Go on. What have you got?
So it's by a user called Crowstar, who's looking for a 15k dog carrier. It was going to happen at some point, but we need a car specifically to cart around a dog.
Okay.
Crowsout says, I need to change motors to cart my large dog about. I thought I preferred an estate rather than an SUV and wanted something that was either punchy enough or remappable to a point where I wouldn't be bored to death. After some time researching, I settled on a Leon Estate 2 litre. Oh. After going to look at one, it turns out the boot isn't big enough to fit my dog into. My dog is around 94 centimetres from butt to head when sitting down. The Leon boot isn't high enough to accommodate him.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Have you got a vision of a dog's arse in your head?
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah, that's not nice.
Butt to head is something I've not seen people use to measure. Anyway, so it's back to square one, or square zero, really. If anyone has a dog of similar size, what do you use to chart it about the place? Here are my requirements. Budget up to 15k, needs a bit of go or it to be remappable. Would prefer an estate but would consider an SUV. Probably needs to be petrol due to usage. Lots of short trips with 5 or 6 long drives of several hundred miles each year. Needs to be able to fit my 94 centimetre dog, as reliable as possible these days, and not cost the earth to run / maintain, as I'll be on a budget. So no BMW, Merc, etc. The community, as always, has been absolutely brilliant with this because there aren't actually that many sensible suggestions. We've just got pictures of people with big dogs in sports cars. So we've got Rotary Potato here, who's uploaded a picture of what is, I'm assuming, a German Shepherd. I don't really know my brands of dog.
That's for clarification purposes, I can confirm Cam is looking at a German Shepherd. Have you got a picture of a Boxster in a Boxster?
We don't have a picture of a Boxster.
A Boxer, sorry.
A Boxer in a Boxster. If someone could put a picture of a Boxer in a Boxster in this thread, that would be fantastic. We do, however, have another German Shepherd sat in the passenger seat of a Lode Solis. Now, I actually tried to approach this quite sensibly, but now that I've seen the pictures, I probably just could have gone and got a convertible sports car. John, if a Seat Leon doesn't fit, I'm not entirely sure how our ones are going to go down.
Well, do you know what I was thinking? Because there's a lot of boots that are deliberately designed to be 1 metre wide.
Exactly.
Off my memory, current or just gone off sale Audi A4 Avant is 1 metre between the wheel arches.
Ah, okay.
I think the Skoda Superb I have is over 1 metre between the wheel arches.
What we're suggesting, crows out is instead of placing your dog in longitudinally,
So
like
when he's
straight
mounting his dog,
when you, maybe not word it like that, but yes. Instead of putting your dog into the boot longitudinally, maybe you go transverse like a Miura, and you might be able to get them in a little easier. So with that in mind, what have you got?
I've got a few.
Uh-huh.
You always get cross with me because I do too many.
Yes,
Which
you do.
Which is basically like getting cross with someone for doing too much work.
It's a little bit, but
So
the
I hope
problem is you rattle
you-
through them so quickly, and by the time this goes live, most of them have sold.
Okay, so there was a thing, wasn't there, going back to the criteria, which was no BMW or
No Mercedes,
Exactly.
etc. I don't even know what etc. means.
What it means and on.
Yeah, exactly. But what, are we just listing
I see.
car manufacturers here? Is it
you
just?
were being,
do you mean
you were being dry again,
I
weren't
was,
you? Yeah. So you're so dry today that I actually can't tell.
Because I'm still under the weather.
It is, yeah. The no BMW, no Merc didn't specify no Audis.
No?
You could say it alludes to.
I mean, if we were saying
I always get-
you don't know where that etc. could go, it could
it-
go to Opel.
It could do, but they're not.
You don't know.
No, but I don't
yeah.
think. To be fair, Opel's not quite in the same category, is it?
I'm going to put a picture of this up because it's marvellous.
Right. This is a pastel yellow. So kind of that 70s shade of 911 that we all love, or maybe a Jaguar E-Type.
It's a beautiful
It's a
car.
beautiful
It looks
car,
so
but
good.
it's not a 70s Jaguar E-Type
No.
or a 911. It is an Audi 2005 Audi B7, so S4 with the 4.2 litre V8. It's an Avant, so it fits the Mercedes. It fits the not Mercedes bill.
It's not a Mercedes
while
or a BMW,
but being big enough to have a dog.
Yep.
Mounted in it.
Yep.
Yes.
We'll go with that.
And it's done 37,000 miles.
Good Lord.
Oh, I know.
That's barely
Exactly.
anything.
Exactly. So I think that actually fulfills all the criteria.
It is a really good looking thing. That
Well, it's just
I love that.
I
and
don't think I've ever seen one in that colour before. 'Cause it's a really, I mean,
It's an unusual colour.
and so I'm recommending somebody buy this car, this beautiful car that we both agree is stunning,
Yeah.
low mileage, wonderful car,
Yeah.
to put a metre long dog from
Yes.
butt to head.
That's right.
So it chews the bolsters and chews everything and ruins it.
Yeah, exactly. But dog people don't always care about the condition of their car. They just want to make
No,
sure
but
that
I
their
care
dog
about the
is
condition
happy.
of the car.
It's a very good condition.
So I'm scrapping that.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to. We're not allowed to have that one. So 2019 Jaguar XF.
Oh,
Sport brake.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I like it. I like an XF.
Yeah. I don't massively.
Okay.
It's my phobia against some Jaguars, but I'm recommending it because I know a lot of people do.
Yes.
And it's done 50,000 miles. So again, it's really not a high mileage car. It's got one previous owner. It's the 2 litre, which is the Ingenium engine, isn't it? Which is not particularly exciting.
It's not. No, very rarely a 2 litre turbo engine's exciting, but
But it has 247 horsepower.
and that's a bit of poke.
That's a bit of
more
poke.
than what that Leon would have.
Exactly, that is a bit of poke. But if you wanted to remap it, probably remappable.
Potentially so. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, we've got
And
poke or remappability.
And I felt like, from my limited experience with XFs of that era, the interiors felt relatively hard.
I'm just reading.
What? Has it already been remappable?
I think in these two sentences we have a complete car here, a winner. The Jaguar XF I portfolio offers impressive performance, accelerating from 0 to 60 miles an hour in just 6.5 seconds,
That's
demonstrating its dynamic capabilities. The generous boot space provides ample room for luggage or shopping, brackets or dogs.
Oh my goodness! It's a listing built for dogs.
Exactly. So that's.
That was good research.
I know. I feel like I'm doing too good a job because even my sort of slightly offbeat ones are good. They're good.
Yeah, for the first time. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not what I want.
There's no Morgan three-wheelers this week, so don't. John,
But I
put
want.
the Morgan down.
This sounds like you're talking to a dog.
Yes.
Me. It's like.
Well, it's fitting in the dog section.
It's like. Right. To continue my brilliance
Yes.
of doing this job perfectly, I also thought now, and also being perverse, I suppose, to a degree. You've got a frown.
Well, I've seen the price, and
Well,
I'm I've seen what juice it takes.
No, hang on a minute. Hang on. Budget creep.
I know you say budget creep all the time.
If you give me a budget of 15,000 or any budget, I'm going to add a percentage on. And in this case, I've moved it up to 16,000.
Anyway, what have we got?
It's a 2014 Land Rover Discovery. There isn't a V8, but to be honest, in this situation, I'm vetoing his petrol thing.
Okay, well, the reason Crows Out has said they would prefer a petrol is because they do short journeys regularly, only occasionally, potentially 5 to 6 times a year, driving for several hundred miles. So we all know that short journeys in diesels probably isn't the best thing. But go on, just completely disregard the criteria.
Well, it's not completely disregarded, and there is method to my madness. Yes, I've ignored the diesel thing, but, I mean, it's still going to be, you're better off having better economy even for a lot of short journeys than you are terrible economy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, it's a series, it's a Discovery 4, 2014. It's in a nice, very blue today, metallic blue.
It's a lovely
I talked about aquamarine blue for the Panamera, and the Polestar was a nice shade of blue. This is also a lovely shade of metallic blue. It's a Discovery 4. It looks great. It looks really clean, and it's got a light interior. I like a light interior. I know you like a light interior.
I love a light interior, absolutely.
The back of the car is open, the split tailgate, which, by the way, will be incredibly useful for your dog to jump up on.
I think you could put multiple 94 head to butt dogs in there transversally.
I think so. Basically, if Crows Out decides that he's going to start a dog walking business, this saves him having to buy a van. So I've done a brilliant job with the Land Rover, but you're vetoing it because it's a diesel.
That's right.
In that case, Cam, I have my final, and I put it to you, best and unbeatable in every respect from your point of view and from the point of view of Cow Sweep.
Okay, right.
Is it Cow Sweep?
No.
Oh, sorry. I'm not...
Crows Out.
Crows Out. Oh. 2018, Skoda Superb. You know, I like a Skoda Superb. 14,495. No budget creep. Under budget. Now, we know that that any shaped Skoda Superb estate is massive.
Yes.
So it probably is not quite as big as a Discovery, but which you vetoed, but still a big car. So it's one of the biggest cars you can buy on sale today.
Bigger than a Leon.
Oh, massively bigger than a Leon. So we know it's brilliant in that respect. So it's definitely going to fit the dog, and it's, I believe, more than 1 metre. So mounting the dog into the sideways into the car will be fine.
Great.
Right? Okay, happy with that?
Yes.
Now, it's a one-owner car, and it's a 2-litre petrol. Can you fault me so far?
Nothing. It's a solid choice.
Even though I'm creepy? In fact, I haven't creepy.
No, you haven't, no.
So you can't even say I'm creepy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you've come 500 under budget.
Exactly, right. So I'm not creepy. It has done 107,000 miles. That's okay, isn't it?
It's okay. Look, 100,000 mile cars these days, they're built better than what they used to be. It's fine.
3 months extendable warranty as well.
Well, there
and
you go.
Also, I've looked at the pictures, and it doesn't look like it. None of the pictures look like it's done 100,000 miles. It's a 280 Sportline 4-wheel drive.
280 horsepower.
This is a car that will splat the dog on the back window because it's so fast. It does 0 to 60 in the 5-second category.
That's good.
The only thing you can fault me on with this car is the fact that it's too fast.
Also, because it's silver with a black grille, everyone will think that you're an undercover police car. Even though I don't even know if the Rozzers use Skoda Superbs or Octavias anymore. But there's still this feeling of, if you see a Skoda in this spec, that it must be undercover police. And no one overtakes them. So you can just drift by people and they'll all be far too terrified to tailgate you or overtake or whatever. Go undercover police spec, everyone will avoid you. It's great to have the road to yourself.
So, can you beat that?
So I've got one that is not. It's not a serious suggestion, but it's just so cool. And I have to, anytime that I see one of these, I have to bring it up, even if it has nothing to do. This could be a hot hatch challenge for $5,000, and I'd still bring this car up. There's a 156 GTA Sportwagen for sale on PH.
Oh, hang on. So he's right. Hang on.
It looks so good. It's in red. It's 10995. It's done 147,000 miles.
Remind me, I introduced a car into this. In fact, I introduced several cars: the Land Rover Discovery and the Skoda Superb.
Yes.
Known to have massive carrying capacity. The Alfa 156, known for having massive carrying capacity, wasn't it? One of the more practical estate cars.
So what I'd just like to say is, first of all, I've come under budget by £4,000. There's nothing about having a contingency fund there. There's no kind of buffer for if anything happens. So I've provided £4,000 worth of maintenance, maintaining.
Do you want to have some left over for fitting a tow bar and having a trailer to put the dog in because it won't fit in the boot?
What I suggest is, now I've not had a pet dog for many years, but I do know that they can sit down and they can lie down, they can curl up as well. So what might be worth doing is getting the dog to sit down and curl up, and then you can scoop them into the boot, and it just means they're a little bit more compact.
What about if...
Yeah. We might struggle with the 156 GTA Sportwagen, sadly, but if you are on the hunt for one, one's available. And then the next car I chose, I thought was much more like it, until I actually read the comments a little bit more. I've gone for a VW Golf R estate because they are just superb things. Poke, loads of it. You've got, 300 odd horsepower? 0 to 60, definitely going to be around the 5-second mark. It's in grey, black leather, 85,000 miles, so it's looking really good. Great interior, nice and subtle. The only problem is that Crows Out has said they've tried a lay-on and the dog didn't fit. And a Golf is a lay-on.
I don't want to come to your defence. It is, well, it isn't. It's a Golf.
Well, it's the same underpinning, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm assuming the boot, if anything, Seats usually have quite big boots, don't they?
I actually think that's probably...
That's a big boot.
Yeah, I think the Golf estate actually has quite a big boot. I think. And I'm fairly sure it's bigger than... Because also it's got more of a squared off back.
True. Yeah, the Layons are a little bit more kind of smoothed off. So I would like to put that forward as my choice because I think it's a great do-everything car. Finally. Yes. This is genuinely so much car. It's a Volvo V90 T5 cross-country. So it's got the cladding. It's slightly raised.
It's got the cladding.
It's got the cladding.
It's got the stone cladding.
It's blue-ish silver.
It's a light blue.
It's a light blue.
But it is blue.
It's not got a light interior though, which is a shame. But it does have wood on the inside, so it's which brings it up a little bit. It looks marvelous, and it's going to be massive, and it's got 250 horsepower. And according to the ad, it'll go from 0 to 62 in a brisk 7.1 seconds. Now, I wasn't 100% sure if 7.1 seconds was brisk, but because the ad says it is, it's done 111,000 miles. But
it's too much.
It's a Volvo,
mine's only done 106 or whatever it was.
It's true. We are in the 100,000 mile territory, but that's a lot of car, and it's going to be rugged. I mean, that's the whole point of a cross country, isn't it? I'm going to put forward my Volvo.
I prefer your Volvo.
I'm going to go for Volvo, and you're going to go Skoda, right?
And I actually really like your Volvo.
Okay.
And I because I love Volvos and of cross country, brilliant.
Yeah.
The V90 is an excellent car, and it is massive. It's got a big footprint, and the tailgate does slope a lot, reducing a lot of the space from head to butt measurements.
However, I've taken this into account.
Have you?
Because even if the dog can't sit down or roll up, what you can do is just stand it up straight and then just kind of put it on its side, and then you can kind of fold it in flat, load it in flat.
Stand it up straight, put it on its side, and then
it just load it in flat. And
how do you do that with a live dog?
I don't know.
You haven't
I've not had a pet dog for a long time.
No, I can tell this.
But just tell it. Just go lie down.
Oh, I suppose you.
And then if it can't lie down properly, just tip it over.
Yeah, you could train it.
So if you prefer my Volvo, let us know down below in the comments if you're reading this on the Pistonheads homepage, or if not, just go and tell someone who's sat next to you, or think about it in your own head.
What? You're sitting on the train.
Yeah. tap the person on the shoulder and just go, I think Cam's Volvo's better, to be honest. or if you think,
people in London are famously receptive to that sort of stuff. When you're on the tube, there's nothing better than just tapping someone on the shoulder.
Hopefully, they'll turn around and go, I was thinking the same thing. Or they might go, I actually prefer John's Skoda. But, let us know either way, or put your own suggestion forwards. That would be really very good. Now, I did have a look through the auctions to see if anything fit the bill. Currently, it doesn't. There are some V60 Polestars up on this Volvo theme that we've got going on. But I think they're probably going to go just outside the budget. But if you've got something you'd like to sell that's premium performance or collectible, just visit pistonheads.com/sell. Go to auctions, fill your details in. A consignor will be in touch. And also, while I've got you, we have a promo running with Michelin. You could get up to 100% off a new set of Michelin tyres. Just go to www.pistonheads.com/Michelin, plug your details in, and see how much money you could save. It'll probably be up to £100. That's all the notices that I've got to mention. John, let's do the last topic, and we'll try and keep this quite quick because we've been nattering quite a lot about Volvos today. So
we've been nattering quite a lot about everything.
Everything, really.
Yeah.
So this has come up on general gassing, which it's just, I don't know why we've not brought it up yet. I think it's a great topic for discussion, and it is, what is your favourite engine configuration? So it started by Serb45 Lee.
Cameron, I know. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you there. Well, I did.
Yes.
Do you know? Shout out to Serb4.5 Lee. He always takes the time to say, really enjoyed that, John. Thank you very much. Or something worse to that effect. So I feel like I should put a shout out and say, what a lovely contributor to Pistonheads.
They say, do you prefer an engine in a V configuration, V6/V8, etc., or do you prefer a straight 6 or 3 or 4 or inline 5? For me personally, it would be a V8, but I also have a soft spot for straight 6 V6 engines too. So, what is your favourite engine? I've definitely got some I could rattle off, but John, what's your favourite engine? What's the one that you go, yes, it just ticks your box?
Well, I'm going to say this is a bit like handbags.
Okay, I don't have much experience with that, but go
on. Handbags, if I said to someone who was into handbags, what's your favourite handbag? They would probably go, well, it depends on the occasion, doesn't it? And
it's true, yeah.
But an engine's a bit like that for me. Mm-hmm. However, if I had, when the question was immediately posed to me, the thing that came into my brain, straight 6. I just love straight 6 engines. And it's because I've had a lot of cars with straight 6 engines, and I also used to work for I used to work for a Jaguar dealer, so I was very used to working on straight 6 engines. One of the first sort of, I would say, fancy, certainly classic cars I ever drove was a 3.8 litre E-Type, Series 1 E-Type, with a wonderful sounding straight 6 engine. And so I think I've had lots of, say, BMWs with straight 6. I find them, when they're either in a sports car, they make a great noise. But when they're in a sort of more luxury car, like an E39 5 Series or an XJ40 or whatever, then there's that beautiful, sublime smoothness of them. And of course, I think a lot of people understand that they are genuinely the most balanced engine you can configure. I was thinking about this because I did know this, but I thought, can I just rattle off why?
Please, yeah.
And I'm going to read this because I thought, you know what? Sometimes you know stuff, but you think, I'm not arrogant enough to go, I know everything. And I'm not an engineer as such, but I'm just going to, just sort of maybe if people don't know. So best primary balance, that's because the pistons move in opposing pairs.
Right.
So just pointing that out. Secondary balance is also better in a straight 6. And then in terms of, there's other factors as well, overlapping power strokes, and because it's got an overlapping power stroke, it means that the car is also producing power more consistently throughout the 360 degrees of the rotation, and also smooth torque delivery as well.
Yes,
You've blown
my mind a little bit because I'm not the most and this is going to surprise absolutely no one, my mechanical knowledge is enough to write stories, not enough to actually properly tear apart the inner workings of an engine. I'm also a fan of a straight six. I think a lot of people are fans of straight sixes. Anyone who listens to this podcast will know that I'm currently still hunting for a F30 generation 335i. It's just they're just none are coming up, and it's really, if you've got a 335i luxury line with sensible miles and in good condition, please
don't feel sorry for him, because he had the opportunity to buy one and walked away because
it had a busted alternator.
I mean, seriously.
I know. Well, it was a long drive home. But anyway, so I would prefer one of those over the 4-pots, because I just love the idea of a nice, smooth, straight six. I quite like a flat plane crank V8.
I also like a flat plane crank V8.
Which, if we're going to get technical, apparently they are quite difficult to make reliable, because there's a lot of high-frequency vibration from them, being 2 4-cylinders kind of next to each other. So you don't see them very often. But some of the engines you
do hear them.
You
know them when they go.
Boy. So I'm a big fan of straight six in a road car would absolutely love. But I'm a big fan of race engines, and really, really kind of like trick race engines get me weirdly excited. So I was at the Festival of Speed this year. One of my favourite cars is the E46 M3 GTR, which is a flat plane crank V8 version of the E46 M3. I
didn't know that was a flat plane crank.
Flat plane crank, yeah, absolutely.
Interesting.
I found out recently that it was an IndyCar project that they scrapped. So they built the flat plane crank V8 for IndyCar racing, and they went, we're not going to do this anymore. Let's go and put it in an M3 instead. And they did it for 1 year in 2001, and they destroyed everybody. I mean, they literally ran off into the distance and then got banned. So because they didn't make enough road cars. So basically what happened is they put this engine in, and they were told, you've got to make a production car of this, otherwise you can't race it. So they were allowed to race the car while the production car was in development. So they built 10 of them, supposedly. Only 3 remain of the GTR road cars. All of them owned by BMW. And then they went, oh, no, you can't do that anymore. You've got to make 1,000 of them. And they went, we can't put an IndyCar V8 in 1,000 road cars. So they scrapped the project. They got rid of the car, and then they entered it into the N24 several years later. That was the car I saw at the Festival of Speed. And the noise is just astonishing. I also heard a 458 GTE car with a flat plane crank V8, race bred flat plane crank V8. And it sounded like, weirdly, it sounded like a V12 Formula 1 car. The noise was astonishing. It was such an incredible sound. And it was racing around in some support race of a GT series at Brands Hatch. And it was the loudest thing by a mile. So and it was the full GP loop, and you could hear the thing going around the whole track. It was stupidly loud. And so, yeah, a flat plane crank V8. They're just so inherently racy.
Is that your choice?
Well, straight six for a road car, but a good flat plane crank V8 really does it for me.
I love straight sixes, but again, it's that thing about handbags and the right.
That's right, yeah.
Occasion. So if somebody said to me, and you know how much I like an E39, or I love W126 Mercedes S-Class, really like those. If somebody said to me, you can have a W126 S-Class with a V8 or a straight six, most people will probably say V8. For me, no, straight six. Yeah. I love them. And the same with an E39. And unless you're having the M5, I wouldn't have. I always have an E39 with the straight six engine because unless it's the M5, the performance is not the point. You're never going to have the fastest one. So in that situation, go for the smoothest one, which is that beautiful straight six in the E39. So silky, so lovely.
Well, I've said before 1,000 times that I love the S62 in the E39 M5, but yeah, a good straight six is just a lovely, lovely thing.
How about I reckon we could join forces. We both basically like straight sixes and flat plane. So actually, that's Concord.
Yes.
Can we agree also, maybe the best actual configuration of an engine is a V10, because nothing sounds like the 2000s era V10s when they were revving to nigh on 20,000 RPM. And so not necessarily because it's my favourite configuration of engine, but of all the sounds in motoring, I love that sound. It's such a wonderful, wonderful sound.
I'm going to actually, because we're both Formula One fans, I love a Formula One V10. However, the Porsche 911 RSRs that were running at Le Mans about 6-7 years ago with 4-litre straight pipe flat sixes, the noise that they created is the best thing I've ever heard in my entire life. I can't remember if I mentioned it on this podcast, but it was enough to get I was watching them race at Silverstone, and every time on pit exit, this little family stood up and cheered because the noise was so apocalyptically loud. And when I was talking to my best friend, Jorg Bergmeister.
Good old Jorg.
Love Jorg. I was talking to him about that because I said, you used to race them and you won at Le Mans in one of those things. And he goes, you thought that was noisy? He's like, we actually did a 6-into-1 exhaust. There's no footage of it anywhere. A 6-into-1 exhaust version of these RSRs. And he was like, it was too loud. It was just because even the twin exit was too loud. The single exit, he was like, the noise was ridiculous, and we had to take it off the car because it was just like a jet fighter. So there you go. Let us know which is your favourite engine. I'll leave a link to all of these in the story that you'll find on the pistonheads.com homepage. Thank you ever so much for listening. If you wouldn't mind leaving us a 5-star review, please do, or tell your friends. Just say, I listened to the Pistonheads podcast. It was really good. Hey, maybe turn next to somebody on the tube or the train and tell them and see what their reaction is. John, anything to add? You've got 2 seconds. That's it for now. See you next Tuesday.